It's time for the Daily Stand Up Podcast presented by Agile Dad with your host, Lee Henson. Without any further ado, let's get started. I recently received another great email from my dear friend Mike Cohn, and I thought I would read it to you. This one's titled, Are Scrum and Agile Dead? Oh boy, I know I had this conversation not too long ago, but let's see where Mike takes us. He says, I've always said that I wanted Scrum and Agile to go away. That's interesting. Is that happening? I don't think a week passes without some article about their deaths appearing in my browser or my email or something along those lines. Within a few years of the Agile Manifesto being written back in 2001, I began to say I wanted Agile to go away completely. I didn't mean that I wanted us to stop using it, rather that I wanted them to win. I want Agile to be so much the accepted approach to product development or project development or to teamwork in general that we could stop talking about it. Instead of saying we do Agile software development, we could just say we do software development. And the assumption would be that, of course, it's meant to be Agile because that's what everybody does. And to some extent, I would argue we're there. So let's pause for a minute. I definitely feel like this is something interesting and revolutionary. I love where Mike is taking us. That should be so commonplace that we shouldn't have to call out that it's Agile. But unfortunately, I still see organizations where it's not Agile or here, even worse, where they claim to be Agile, but they're abusing the term Agile. So they're saying they're Agile for the sake of saying they're Agile when they're not really doing anything Agile about what they're doing, if that makes any sense at all. So for me, I almost think this is a double-edged sword. Either organizations are saying, yeah, we're Agile, but they're not really following through, or organizations are saying Agile differentiate themselves because they really are trying to do Agile, or organizations just aren't saying it, and then we have to question, are they doing Agile or not? Now, the good news is, as Mike pointed out, many organizations are starting to, how should I put this, do Agile-esque activities. They're starting to do things in an Agile vein. But it doesn't mean that the company or organization is completely Agile. There's still some heavy lifting in many places in many cases that has to take place in order for the organization to truly say that they're doing the best Agile that they could possibly do. So let's continue. It says, when Scrum emerged as the original framework in the mid-1990s, yes, it was that long ago, cross-functional teams were not common, but they are now. Software development back then was done in phases, typically an analysis phase, followed by design phase, coding phase, and testing phase. That's different now. Heavy-duty pixel-perfect prototypes were common back then due to the high cost of iterating over a design. While prototypes are still used today, multiple quick prototypes are now common to help product owners and managers choose between various options. So, high-speed prototyping. Before the advent of Agile, organizations thought that they could add quality to a product by testing quality in at the end. Agile has helped us see that that isn't true. In Barry Boehm's spiral model back in 1986 and Tom Gilb's evolutionary delivery model in 1988, started to shift towards iterative incremental development, but that shift accelerated dramatically after the manifesto in 2001. So that is interesting, right? I think that history shows us that things have changed, but at the same time, my question is, have things changed at a speed that's good enough? Do we feel like we have crossed the precipice and the finish line is in front of us and we can just stop calling out Agile altogether and just say, if you're not doing Agile, why not? Because it's the normal thing to do. And I would argue I don't know that we're there yet. Let's see what he says. He says, what I hear about Agile today. So recent articles and podcasts saying Agile is dead are not saying we need to reverse the improvements of Agile or stop initiation of new ideas or acceleration. I haven't read anything advocating return to waterfall development, or more accurately, the ad hoc development practices that were most common before Agile. I did hear good news, Mike. I heard that the Waterfall 1996 conference is back on. So if you want to, I think they finally got through. They're at the end of the Gantt chart now. So if we want to go to the 1996 Waterfall conference, I'll personally take you. I think we should go. So Um, Instead of Agile is Dead articles, uh, I see articles that more closely mimic my long held view that we can eventually stop talking about Agile teams specifically, Agile development, Agile frameworks, Agile this, Agile that, as long as we keep talking about Agile Dad. Don't scare me like that, Mike. They'll just become teams, development, and frameworks. Well, that means I would just become Dad. So are Agile and Scrum dead? I don't think so yet. But I think there's still plenty of work ahead. And it's why we're focusing on more attention towards whole team training and whole team learning opportunities. This has been a great shift that I've seen in my training organization as well, Mike, where we have helped organizations by saying, hey, it's great to send one or two individuals, but how about we get the whole team together? You're going to get a much bigger bang for your buck, and everyone will be on the same page this way. Some of the Agile and Scrum fatigue that I sense today is analogous to what happens in the music industry. Fans who love an artist's first few albums often sour on that artist when they're discovered by the masses. The artist is no longer the hip new thing, and many early fans move on because of that. I will definitely be happy when Agile wins. So will I, Mike. When we can drop it as an adjective in front of so many terms. Until then, I will remain dedicated to helping teams succeed. Mike, your emails never cease to amaze me. Everything you said in this email is absolutely on point. My only hope, Mike, is that we don't do away with the term Agile in front of everything altogether, or else I'm going to have a hard time changing the name of my company to something that makes sense. So that's going to do it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have a topic you want us to discuss, learn more at agiledad.com. We would love to hear from you. As always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.